Alright, I haven't talked to you since my day where my sister and my mother and myself went to Eureka. Well, maybe I have with the muffaletta, but that doesn't count. And yes, I am in camo, and it says on it, you can't see me. Because I'm a 3X in a camo shirt that makes me invisible. We had an okay time. I was Miss Cranky Pants a lot of the time when we were there because we got lost, and I was crumpled up in the back seat. My sister kept trying to get me to take the front seat, but when you're in the back seat you can't see, and she hadn't been there in so many years, trying to let her keep the front seat. But I started having car sickness and a lot of pain from just sitting there for so long and being kind of cramped up. So I got really cranky, and basically my sister had to, when the car was pulled over for something else, she had to give me a very stern talking to me and tell me to shut up, and I did. And then it was okay for the most part. We decided that we would go to some yard sales and some garage sales and that sort of thing while we were out, because it was a Saturday morning, and no, it was a Friday morning. Potato. And we thought we'd find a lot of good ones. So we got to Fayetteville and we started driving around looking for signs, and this little black Scotty dog walked right out in front of the car. And Mom squealed on the brakes and managed to avoid hitting it, but it just stood in front of our car and just stared at the car, and she was edging forward and honking, and it just looked at the car and wagged its little tail, and then she stopped completely, and it just walked around. We were out the window yelling, "Get out of the way, dog!" And it walked up to the passenger, or well, up to her side of the car, and just smiled at us, and it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" It was kind of a busy street too, and we couldn't just drive away and leave it there in the road, because somebody else who wasn't looking or who was not as kind-hearted, you know, was going to hit it. So I got out and grabbed it. Now, mind you, I usually am wearing dark colors, almost always. This was the one day that I decided to wear something white. Yeah, looking nice, you know, my white shirt. I hopped out and grabbed the dog up. Chubby, adorable, beautiful little black Scotty. I've always wanted a little black Scotty. I could have very happily just taken it home. And she was just real happy to be held, and I walked up to the nearest house and knocked and knocked and knocked, and nobody would get up and answer the door. So then we went across the street, and a woman answered the door there, and she said she actually was the landlord for the house across the street, and I think some others there too. And we told her, you know, found this dog, and she said she didn't know who it belonged to, but she had seen it out in the road the day before and had thought several times it was going to get hit. There had been some near misses, I guess. And so we told her we were going to take it to the Humane Society, and if she heard anybody around there saying that they were missing their dog, to please let them know where it was at. So, and I had done this before when my ex-boyfriend Johnny and I had rescued a dog, a black lab puppy out there one day, driving through Fayetteville. I took the long strap off of my camera and attached it to its collar. The Scotty had a collar but no tags at all. Very neglectful owner. And she was absolutely unafraid of us, of the car ride. The only time she got a little nervous is when I would take one hand away, because I was trying to get a picture of her while I held her. She'd get a little nervous because it would make her lurch a little bit more in the car, but as long as I had both arms around her, she was just perfectly happy. We got her there, and they opened up for us. It wasn't opening time yet. My sister's a little bit more ballsy than I am. She just banged on the door till they came and answered. And they looked at her and said that she looked like she was only about 2 years old. She did not have a chip in her ear, or wherever they put the chips on the dogs now. But they took her in, and my mom called back a few days later and found that the owners had shown up and gotten her, so that was good. I was glad to hear that. I hope they take better care of her this time. I'm sure they had to pay some kind of a hefty fee to get her back. Maybe it will be incentive enough to take better care of her and keep her in. She seemed like she was a loved dog and in real good condition. So, you know, they're not neglectful in other ways. Maybe she just slipped out. So that took a lot of time up. And then my shirt was completely covered in mud and stuff, so we had to go to a store and let me go try to find a shirt to match the pair of pants I was wearing. So that took a bit of time, and then we were on the road, and by then we started getting lost because we tried to take a little bit of a different route and got way out in the sticks somewhere. And Oh God. But we, in all of this being out in the sticks and kind of lost, we ran across this cool looking place, and we decided to stop and talk to the people working there and kind of check it out. And it was a big building with like rolling garage style doors on the front, and they had them all open, and inside was this place called Van Zant's Fruit Farm, and I had heard about it before, but I had never been and had no idea where it was at. And they had they have a big field there where they have orchards and fruits and vegetables growing and all this stuff, and they'll sell it to you fresh, but they also pickle all kinds of veggies, and they make like chow chow and relish type stuff, and there were all kinds of jams and jellies, including something that was cherry butter, which I kind of wish I had bought. I ended up buying some marmalade because the sun was coming in. It was shining through these big jars. Hi, Callie. These big jars of honey, and it was just like beautiful. Everything was so beautiful. I took pictures. I will insert them here. Nice, huh? Yeah, so I bought the marmalade mostly. Well, I like marmalade, but also it was beautiful. It was so pretty. The day before, we had been to some thrift stores, and I'll just show you a couple of things I bought. I don't seem to have most of my fabric here. Bought some fabric. Probably nobody really cares about that. But one of the pieces of fabric I got, it needs to be ironed. I washed it and got the mustiness out of it. But it's like some kind of crazy 60s poochie print. Kind of poochie print looking stuff. I'm not going to unfold the whole thing because it's like slick as snot and gets away from me. But I thought I could make some stuff from my Etsy store out of it. It's fun fabric. The colors are insane. But one thing I always like to do, of course, is look through the records. My sister was out in the car waiting for me, so I didn't feel like I could really look through all of them, but pardon me, but I looked through some, and I got a couple of fun things. This one is in such good condition, I can't believe it. New in Folk. The Folksters. And the name alone. I mean, come on, the Folksters. And there the boys are. It's sitting in great cars with their nerdy folk instruments. The bass is not too nerdy. Bass is kind of hot. Carmen Jones. And the graphic is beautiful. Don't you just love that? The whole thing needs to be cleaned up just a little bit, but and this wonderful Sinatra album. I don't know if you can hear me with my face behind the album. Frank Sinatra sings For Only the Lonely. Well, that's me. He's singing for me. But I thought it was wonderful. This little harlequin pattern. He's got on sort of clown makeup. But, you know, it's a Sinatra album. But you know, it's one of these that's all busted out on the bottom. So the disc tries to fall out. If any of you that are die-hard, really knowledgeable record collectors, if any of you know how to mend a busted out cover without just like putting masking tape on it, because that's so ghetto, but how to properly mend it, somebody let me know. Kind of tape that will stick and will not look really bad. Or maybe there's a little I don't know, but any information would be great. And I got this. It is one of these that's like a book, and it's got these heavy, I guess they're wax, these heavy albums in it, and each one just has one song on each side. It's an oldie. It's Xavier Cugat's Rumba, and it's just a fabulous graphic. I know it looks a little bit washed out here, but it's prettiest shade of red with yellow and white and black. Okay, so we did stop on the way to Eureka Springs. We did stop at one of these little roadside sales, and a lot of their stuff was like stuff that's not really old, or it's not valuable in any way whatsoever, and they had really high prices on it. But then there'd be some stuff, if you dig around, there'd be some stuff that was so cool and it was cheap. And I found this very appropriate, so I purchased it. Although it's not black, it's a little Scotty. I wish it had been black, then I would have really known that the powers that be had sent it my way. But I felt like it was my little trophy or something, saying, good job, you took care of the little doggy. And I felt proud that I was with 2 other people who were compassionate and we didn't even think twice, none of us, about getting out and helping her, or, woof, oh, I heard the wrong way, woof, about helping her. You know, makes me proud, makes me really proud of my sister and my mom. Made in Japan, hand painted. So I guess she'll go on the shelf. She has no babies. She may not even be a she. I'm looking at her butt. Oh my God. I'm looking to see if it's a girl or a boy. Like, that's going to really help.